Hi, welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name's Kirsten and today I have been printing some pictures from Canva to use as ephemera. So Canva, as you probably know, is an app which has thousands upon thousands of images. Now the copyright aspect of these I'm not 100% sure about. I do think that they are copyright free, but you would need to just, be sure, basically, because I'm not 100%. So anyway, what I've done, I've only got a basic black and white printer, so this is really for maybe people in a similar situation. I also put the transparency down to 80%. When you go onto Canva and you choose your images, there's a button at the bottom where you can lower the transparency, which means you'll use less ink, which is fine with these ones because they're still very detailed. I just lowered the transparency, A, because I don't want to use a lot of ink because I'm a miser, and B, because I don't want the black outline to be overpowering, and also a lot of the images have got shading. So some worked better than others, and I was going to go over doing the coffee dyeing as well in the video. So this is lace. So I did these. When you do them, you can change the size of the images, and also you can repeat them. So if you wanted a large lace edge, you could just repeat the pattern going down. You know, if you wanted it narrow and long. You could just make the image smaller but just repeat it. There's a wee button, you just add. Or you can make them bigger. So that's a little doily. That's the lace. I put them on pale grey and then I pulled the transparency down, and I'm thinking that they might have been better if they were black. I'm not sure, we'll see how it goes, because I just think like adding, I'm just going to tear this one off. I didn't want to tear them before I showed you. Like, I think just adding that to the bottom of an image works because it is a bit muted. So you could do a variety. You could do some pale grey, some black. And obviously if you've got a colour printer, then you can just go to town and do whatever colour you want. Now this one here, this is the wallpapers. I looked up vintage wallpapers, vintage flowers, vintage fans, vintage paper, vintage stamps, anything that I could think of that people put in, I looked up. So I used some watercolour on this, and then I've put coffee on top of it, and I don't think these work so well in the black and white. I think that you'd probably want colour for that. Although using that as a frame to put, where did you go? Something in, that's not quite big enough. Like using that as a background frame might work. So it's not entirely wasted, or like ripping it and just having a wee cluster or something. It's never wasted. So these flowers, again, I don't think they worked as well because there's not enough contrast, I think. And I think anything that's too blocky in colour, probably want to stick to the sketched stuff. I quite liked how that flower turned out though, when I put some watercolours on it. I do think that's quite nice. I can see that as a, maybe just a wee tuck spot at the bottom of a page. Now these are the vintage papers. So they should be kind of brown, but again, I've only got the black. So I thought coffee dyeing over the top might work. This one's better than these two, and I think again it's because there's more contrast. fact, I'm actually going to tear it right. Where's my ruler? I'm going to tear it right down. I don't want to take all the edge off, you see, because that's the good part. So yeah, I think that works quite well. I'm going to have to invest in colour ink, I think. So these are some of the wallpapers, but it's an outline, and this is definitely a repeating pattern. This is 2 different angles of it, where you could actually just fill up the whole page with that. But I like these. These were kind of light blue and lilac, the outlines. So I think they're really nice, and I think with the coffee dye over it, and then putting, where'd my flower go? There it is. Like maybe having a flower or the lace part works quite well with that. So this is some stamps and some writing, a ticket. Butterflies, this worked well. I love these flowers and test tubes. I think I put in vintage perfumeria. Perfume. A kind of French name for a perfume shop, and only because I'd seen a lot of adverts, Victorian adverts for it, and I was trying to see what could come up with that. But they came up anyway, and I think they're beautiful. I put some green onto the stamps. I think they're just a bit too black. Butterflies turned out fab. I coloured this one in. Was going to try and fussy cut it actually. So that's the watercolours, and basically as long as you stick to harmonious colours, ones that are next to each other in the colour wheel, you can blend them without creating mud. So I've just kind of used pinks, orange, red and yellow on this butterfly, just to try, because butterflies aren't all block colour, are they? So, but I think these butterflies and the fans are my absolute favourites that I found on Canva. Oh, and these. So that's the lace. Yep, we've done that. And the flowers. Oh, making a big mess now, haven't I? Oh. Yeah, so I was going to do the coffee staining on that one. That's more lace, just so you could see it before I put the coffee on it. Where are they? There. I prefer them kind of muted. It's just that because they were coming out black and lace is white, so maybe you would, I wouldn't want to use all my black ink making the background black so that I could put the white on, and also that would just come up black behind it. So I've got these as well so that you could see. So that's the paper one, and these are like tags or labels. Put them through. I don't think there's enough contrast in these, but I'm still going to put coffee dye on them, and I'll still use them, because even that sitting in the background with something over it, it still looks vintage, it's still aged, it's still interesting. And this one I did some layering. So with Canva you can layer on top of each other, because you can change the transparency. So I actually have letters and postcards, or is it envelopes, in the background that I put down to like 20 to 30% transparency. This is a full picture that I've put in the background. This is a lace border, and then I've put the torn paper on top of the lace border as well, and just brought the transparency down. And I think it's worked out really well. I really like it. So again, I'm going to coffee dye that. I like her kind of, she's a bit Art Deco, isn't she? Or Art Nouveau, I always get them mixed up. And I'm sure there's other apps like Canva. It's just that Canva is the one that I know because I used to use it a lot for, I used to do Amazon KDP, and then I used to use it for Instagram as well. And you know, I'd totally forgotten about it because I've been paying the, I'm going to keep that because that's nice. I've been paying the Pro fee as well. It's £11 a month Pro, but they do have a free version. It's just that there's less to choose from in the free version, but they're still good stuff. I wouldn't let that put you off. So I'm just going to quickly coffee dye these. I made that this morning. Do you know what else I've discovered? This is the first time I've ever used copier paper. I always use old papers that I have about, and this copier paper takes this coffee in a way that no other paper I've ever tried to use does. Like book pages don't take to it the way this does. It's just, I don't know whether or not the copier paper is so thin that it sits on top of it, and that's why it gives you such a good colouring. So this one I'm going to do twice because I did that with the papers, and it's purely just to try and add some more variation to the tags, which is why I've kind of slopped it on a lot more as well. So I'm going to give them a dry with my air gun. Okay, so that's me giving them a dry. Do you know, I was thinking about these. See if you lowered the transparency more and maybe upped the contrast, you might get more variation, like in this one. But what these are good for is, even if you don't use them, they're a good template if nothing else. Cover the back and then that's you ready to go. So, where is she? Here she is. Still a bit damp. So I would go over her more. I do like the fact, see the way that writing shows? I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to dry her a bit more. There. I love how crinkly they go. I feel like I've discovered a whole new thing with printer paper. Do you know what I'm going to do with her? She's going to be something good though. But honestly, you could see when people have this coffee dyed paper as well in their junk journals. I reckon big bits of lace like that. If you find ones that come up white like that one did, whereas mine didn't. But then that only came up white because the background, I think if the background had been remained white, if I hadn't had a picture up under it, that wouldn't have come up white. I need to think about that, how I can get it to come up. Or maybe I would, no, because it's on the Canva page itself. I need to think about it, how I can do that, because that would be a wonderful thing. So what I thought was, oh, one more thing I was going to try. I just wanted to see what would happen with kind of just adding these wee bits on. Probably a wee bit, enough lace here already. Just, it's gorgeous. Do you know, every time I try to do something, I just find something new about junk journals and I love it. It's not great, but it's the same colours as the butterfly. And to be honest with you, that's probably got similar colours as well. But I think you could fairly easily just do one colour as well, just to fit in with whatever colours you're using. I'd also be tempted to leave them black and white. Like, if you were going to use it on a, let me see, oh, I got a new book, Baroque Patterns. I feel like I'm saying Barocca. It's absolutely beautiful. They're very flamboyant. Those 2 pages are the worst pages in the whole book, to be fair. Stunning. So it is. But then you come to a lot of black and white images as well, and they're so ornate. So it's basically, I think it's all the way from like the 10th century or something. I mean, look at this stuff. There's frames as well, very ornate frames. And look at that. It comes with a CD, but I don't use the CDs. It tells you somewhere from 200 to the 1900s. Wow. There you go. 1700 years of patterns. Ornate patterns. Right, I'm going to cut this out. So there you have it. Really looking forward to using these fans. Do you know, I was thinking what else you could do, see when you're doing the pages or the tags. You could actually put like the letters, the vintage letters and that they've got in there. You could actually have them sitting on top of these as well, and you've almost got kind of ready-made tags just to embellish. Anyway, so I need to do a lot more looking into Canva to see what else you can do. Gosh, I need to get a sewing machine. I need to get an eyelet thing tool. And now I'm going to be wanting to get colour ink from a printer. I have an account with HP where I pay £10 a month because I only use my printer for making the address labels. So I only need black, and I think that it's a lot more to add in colour ink, but it might be necessary. Oh, I can see me. Every time I try something new, it's like, oh, I need to do more. But anyway, so that's it just now, and thanks very much for watching. I hope to see you soon, and take care.